everybody. So we're back with Francine DuPont of DuPont Real Estate and Keller Williams Realty. And so I wanted to ask you a question. In the previous video, you mentioned something about buyer agency. So tell me about this new term.
Okay, well, before I go into the buyer agency term, let me tell you that as consumers, you should know about the Working with Real Estate Agent brochure. This brochure is mandatory. Each realtor needs to present it to you at the first initial contact, substantial contact. So basically, it's a brochure that explains the role of a realtor in North Carolina. And since all realtors in North Carolina represent all sellers, you as a buyer need to be protected. And the way to be protected is, if you want those second set of ears and eyes, like I mentioned before, you need to sign what is called a buyer agency agreement with the realtor of your choice.
So then that buyer's agent then becomes your representative.
That's correct.
So it's a little bit like going to court where they have their agent, and then when as a buyer, then you have your own buyer's agent representing you.
It's a little bit like being an attorney into the court system, like you're saying. Actually, we're not attorneys, however, but it's a good parallel where we are truly representing our client. And it's the only way we can represent our client. Otherwise, we are representing the seller's best interest. And I don't think you as a buyer would want that to happen.
No, probably not.
So the agency, however, has a date where it begins and an ending date as well. So sometimes, and I have to mention this, sometimes a buyer is not happy with the realtor that they've picked. And if that's the case, that agency agreement can be canceled.
Okay.
So we are not there to tie buyers in to situations that are not the best for either party.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So a buyer agency is that you sign what is called an exclusive buyer agency agreement between the buyer and the realtor and the company the realtor represents. So in my situation, for example, let's say you're the buyer. We put the agreement is between you and Francine DuPont and Keller Williams Realty because I'm affiliated with Keller Williams.
Sure.
So at that point, you know, it's a really good situation, and you want to work that way with the buyer. You want representation.
If I don't have a buyer's agency agreement with a realtor and I just want to see a house that maybe I've driven by and I call the number on the sign, or I can walk into the house at an open house, what am I putting myself up against if I don't have that buyer representation?
That's an excellent question. So the drawback in all that, I mean, first of all, let me just say that we all think that we can negotiate ourselves and we don't need somebody to negotiate in our behalf because we buy cars and we buy this and that and we negotiate and we look for the best price and so on and so forth. So we all think that we're excellent negotiators and we know what we're looking for. So therefore, why should we have an agent? Mm-hmm. Why not go to the agent that is representing the seller? And that's the fallacy right there. Is the agent that is the listing agent of that specific property or any of the properties, or if you're going to an open house, then the agent that is there is also not representing you, is representing the seller. Also, new homes, you go to a new home builder, the person that is there, the builder's representative, and I accentuate it's a builder's representative, represents the builder. That person is very friendly.
They are. They make you feel very welcome and like they're going to work with you.
And makes you feel that you don't need a realtor. However, all that is a terrible way of thinking. The same thing with for sale by owners. Oh, I can go directly to this for sale by owner, no problem. I know what to do. Well, actually you don't, because every profession, they're professionals. And the reason why there's professionals is because those people do this full time and they do this with knowledge. So you as a consumer, unfortunately, don't have that knowledge. You have another type of profession. You have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things, but you don't work in that profession, so therefore you don't know all the ins and outs. So whether it's for sale by owner, whether it's a new home builder, whether it's a sign that you saw, an open house, whatever it may be, you need to be represented because you don't know the ins and outs of the contracts. You don't know the ins and outs of all of the addendums and all the paperwork, and believe me, there's a lot of it, and there's new addendums every year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very important that you have somebody on your side to do all that. For example, you don't pull your own teeth, do you?
No.
You don't operate on yourself, do you?
I don't.
So you need a professional. You need a professional for those items. You need a professional when you have a legal issue. You need a professional when you are buying real estate.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate your time today, and we will, I don't know. Yeah. How do you segue into the next one?
Thank you so much for your information today, Francine.
No, because on the first one you were like, oh, this is how. So
It's your turn.
what's the third one going to be?
Oh, the third one's going to be once we pick a house, what do we do? What happens?
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, Francine, I appreciate all the great information you gave us today, and maybe next time we can talk about what happens when you do pick that perfect house.
Very good. We will do that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.